As restaurants get into the groove of COVID normal, technology is playing a key role in the way we dine out. Customers are using smartphones to check in, order meals, and pay bills. This new tech is changing the way venues operate, both front and back of house. So what does this mean for hospo professionals and diners? Today I'm joined in the studio by Melbourne hospo legend, Sean Kierce. He's the owner of Ladro in Fitzroy and Prahran, which is home to some of the city's best pizza. So welcome to Bread and Butter, Sean. It's fantastic to have you in the studio.
Morning, Wendy. Thank you for having me.
No, it's my pleasure. Now, tell us, what does a typical day look like now, post reopening after lockdown, when you've got technology playing such a huge role?
So I suppose we're able to ease ourselves into the technology a little bit with when we were operating as a takeaway venue only, and we're able to set up our online ordering system. So it's just really an extension of that. However, there's still many little gremlins that are evolving every day, and you think you've got one knocked out and then another one rears its head again. Little things like special requests from diners. How do we navigate that when you haven't always got a waiter present for you? So those little things have been the hardest, but I think all in all, it's been a really smooth transition from waiters taking orders from tables.
How are your waiters responding to the changes, where they're basically becoming more carriers now than?
Yeah, well, instead of calling them a carrier, I think I'd rather put them in the basket of a concierge, where they're guiding people through the menu and the process,
making sure the traffic is
working. Absolutely, and they're forever present on the dining room floor. And our staff, initially we were going to roll this out about a year ago, but there was a lot of resistance. I think staff thought they were going to lose their jobs. I think also they thought that they were just going to be plate carriers and bus people, which they're still carrying plates, they're still clearing tables, but they're able to sort of breeze between tables, not have the pressure of having to rush to table 1 to table 5 to take an order, making sure they get it right, all these sorts of things, So I think they're more of a host, more of a concierge, and it's made the staff a lot more relaxed, and it's a surprise for them.
Now, I can't imagine the staff on the other side of the pass being quite as relaxed with a whole heap of tickets coming in via the internet.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And, it's interesting you say that. When I first started in restaurants in the 90s working in chef-run kitchens, the chef controlled the pass. And as a waiter...
and you worked with a pretty big name, right?
Yes, we did, yes. I just remember working with Jacques Raymond, and as a waiter, you'd go in there and you'd say, table 5 is ready for their next course. He's like, no, they're not. They're ready when I say it's coming out, pretty much, So, look, that was great because it was all run by Jacques. He just was all over it. He could not see what was happening on the tables, but he just knew the timing perfectly, When we opened Ladro, it had become what has become a waiter, a front of house run restaurant. So the waiting staff are giving the instructions to the kitchen. Now it's different in that the waiting staff don't have control over when the orders come in and how many come in and the speed of how they come in. So the kitchen needs to adapt. So after 15, 17 years of front of house running the restaurant at Ladro, the kitchen have got to step up now and retrain themselves to look at the dockets and say, right, well, that makes sense that dish comes out first, and then we'll hold those dishes back and whatnot, So.
And what about your customers? How are they responding to checking in, ordering and paying on their phones?
Right. Look, I've been really surprised that there hasn't been as much kickback as I thought, particularly with the older customer. They've been like, it's a bit hard and it's a bit fiddly to start with. I've got to set up a credit card and check in, and I'm ordering alcohol, so I've got to put my date of birth in and all these sorts of things, protocols, and then I've got to make sure that what's in my cart is then being paid for and is gets sent. But once they've done it once or twice, they actually love it, and I think people are starting to really enjoy this sort of service. And there has been a little bit of pushback with some of our regulars saying, it's not going to work, and we really like the interaction with the staff. But then they realise the staff are still there, and you can still have that interaction. You can still chat about the day. You can still chat about the wine or the beer or where the cheeses come from and all those important things that people like. And I think there's more opportunity now for the wait staff and the customer to have those interactions rather than the wait staff being unavailable because they're taking orders from other tables, you know?
Yeah, of course.